talk about the next step in our program, and that's what you got to do after the break. One of the most important decisions in the game of 8-ball comes immediately after the break. What to do first. Whether you're the person that broke the balls really makes a little difference. You should be planning your game from the start, even if it's not your turn at the table. There are many different things to look for on the table after the initial shot, and I'm going to discuss a strategy I feel is an effective way of winning more pool games. Most pool players begin their game by taking one shot after another in an effort to run all of their balls off and then pocket the 8 and win the game. That's what pool is all about. But if it were that simple, it would hardly be a very challenging game. The error in that way of thinking is in the fact that the balls rarely ever spread out in a pattern that makes it easy to run out. Therefore, you should always try to come up with a plan of action before you take your first shot. The first thing I look for when the balls stop rolling are my problem areas. That's right, I don't look at how I'm going to run the table out first off, because without knowing what could prevent me from running out, I cannot very well come up with an effective plan for dealing with the problems when they arise. After I look for my problem areas, of which I shall describe some of shortly, I then look for my opponent's problem areas. It is just as important to know what can prevent the other shooter from running out as it is to know your own trouble spots. The reason for this is simple. You don't want to help your adversary out with his problems if you can help it. An example of that would be if your opponent has 2 balls tied together and the angle of one of your shots would carry the cue ball into the married set. If you have a different shot, or if there is no truly great reason for shooting that one first, such as having only one angle to make the ball from, and you have to have it right then, I'd recommend you don't shoot it. Another important thing to know about your problem areas is that you need to take care of them early in the game. I say early because it is important to get rid of the problem while you still have some balls on the table with which to use defensively. When shooting at the problem ball or balls, it is not that uncommon for a shooter to miss a shot, simply because it is a more difficult shot. Therefore, if you have a greater chance of missing a particular shot on the table, doesn't it make sense to try to get to it as early as possible, so that if you miss it, you at least have some obstacles on the table with which your opponent must shoot around. The more obstacles the other shooter has to contend with, the less likely they are to run out on you. Even a poor shooter can run several balls off the table if they're all their own. Not to mention the fact that if you run all the way down to one ball, a good shooter can play hide and seek behind his own balls until they feel they have an opening to make a run. Now I'll give you some examples of what I consider problem areas, or areas on the table that can be difficult to get to. This is an example of a table that say I just broke, okay? I may set my cue stick down, or whatever. Maybe I'll chalk it while I'm looking at the table. But definitely you want to walk around the table and look it all over from pretty much every angle. And look at anything on the table that could possibly create a problem. Now I'm going to outline for you a couple of areas on the table that are critical that you can run into trouble with even if there's no obstacles in the way. That's the areas between these 2 diamonds along the rails. For the simple reasons that these areas only have certain pockets that you can shoot the balls into without having to bank them or kick them in. And that's basically the 2-inch pockets. And the closer you are to this pocket, without being far enough out where you can shoot a ball into it, the more difficult it is to make shapes, because most people are very uncomfortable having to shoot past the pocket. Plus, on certain angles, you could wind up leaving yourself with a scratch shot in the side pocket. Therefore, anytime you have balls between these 2 diamonds, you got to watch out for that, because that can run into problems. In the same respect, at the end of the table, between these 2 diamonds and near the rail, you run into the same difficulty. For the simple reason that anytime you have balls within that area, you're limited on your area of position, so that you can pocket a ball in one pocket or the other. The closer they are to the pocket, the better it is for you, because then you have a wider area for which to shoot for position for. If it's laying right dead in the middle, that can make it very difficult to get to, because then you have to basically try and get down in here to have a comfortable shot. Okay. Now, say we just broke this table. I'm going to look it over, and based based on what I see, it's a pretty well spread out table. There's only a couple of problem areas. I'm sure based on what I just said to you a minute ago about looking for your problem spots, you probably already discovered that, well, the 12 ball is obviously in a problem area. What also makes it even more difficult, not only that it's in the problem area, but also one of the two pockets that it can be shot into is blocked right now by the 2 ball. Therefore, for most, mainly you can only see that you can only make that 12 ball in one pocket. That means that you need to be over here to even have a comfortable shot. That's going to make it a little difficult to make shapes on. Following the same thought process, look into the other problem area. You can see down here on this end rail, you have another strike. Right, almost dead center on the rail down here. That shot's going to be difficult to get to. Following the same thought process, you look around over here, and it's not too bad over here. The 8 ball is in a little bit of a problem area, and the 8 ball is something that if you decide you're going to make a run, you need to pay special attention to that, because that is one of your balls that you're trying to get out. Therefore, if it's in a problem area, or if it's tied to another ball, you need to make sure that you pay attention to try and get that 8 ball out in a spot where you can get to it, or else make plans to get position on it on the last shot. Therefore, you might want to make sure you're saving one of your balls so that you can get to that ball. In other words, pay attention to the 8, it's one of your balls. So when you start to run, don't discount it. Okay, the last problem area down here, ball's right in here. Obviously, we got 2 balls hooked together down here, and they're not even in line where they can be made on a combination or anything. Therefore, these balls basically need to be separated for you to be able to do anything with them. And that can definitely create a problem, because anytime you're trying to break balls apart, you just never really know exactly where they're going to roll. Other than that, I don't see any balls locked together on the table or any other problems really that could stop me from running out. So I have to decide now what I think is my best course if I'm going to try and run this table. Okay, 12 ball and the 11 ball obviously are problems, okay, for the stripes. That's 2 problems there. 4 ball and the 5 ball also are problems in the solids. Therefore, I have problems with both of them. Now I have to make a decision on my own as to which ones I believe are the easiest problems to overcome. Well, now that I've sorted out my problems, I'm going to look at the angle I am with the cue, where I'm starting from with the cue ball. Now, if I start shooting the solids, I'm going to have to try and find an angle so that I can break out that 4 and that 5, because they're basically 2 problems in themselves. I don't really see anything real great for getting to it right away. It's important that you try and get to your problem areas as early as possible in your run, for the simple reason that you don't want to wind up having to try and break something out or get position on a ball late in the game where you only have so many options to get there. Because if you don't break it out, or you don't get position on that ball, and it was like your last ball on the table beside that when you shoot it, then you're in trouble. Because now you have no shot, and your opponent's going to have control of the table next. Okay, as I said, the 4 and the 5 look like they're going to be difficult to break out. I've got a combination shot immediately right here. However, combinations aren't really a choice shot, even when they're dead, because you never know where that second ball is going to go. And also, I don't really have an angle to try and break those out with that. So basically, if I was going to shoot solids, I'd have to shoot something else first and then try and find an angle so that I can break those out. However, looking at the stripes, everything's spread out and looking pretty good except for the 12 and the 11. The 11 ball shouldn't be a problem to get shapes on at some point in the future, as long as I get an angle to get down table. Therefore, the 12 ball is my main focus. Now, automatically, already, I have an angle to get on it, so I can take care of one of my problems right off the bat if I hit the 9 ball properly. Because I have a little angle here. If I shoot that ball with a little draw, it should pull straight across the table here and leave me fairly straight in on the 12 ball. If I do get pretty much perfectly straight, or even if I wind up with a little bit of an angle, that's fine. But if I get perfectly straight, and I have confidence in my ability to follow without following the ball in, I could actually shoot the 12 ball down here and get shapes on the 11. I could get rid of my two problems right off the bat. Everything else is fine. Were I to get a little bit of an angle, not get perfectly straight, I can shoot that ball down there and get out here and make shapes on either the 15 or the 14, depending on my angle off of this, so that I can get down table to the 11 ball next. Therefore, I can still get that ball out of the way and take care of my problem. Ideally, I would like to try and leave this 14 ball here for my last ball to make shapes on the 8 if I can get position in this area. But make it simple to get out from there. Therefore, in my opinion, looking this table over, I probably have to take the stripes and try for the run. And I start with a 9 ball. Okay? I'd love to go ahead and shoot these off and give you an example of it, but I won't bore you with that. I just wanted to try and point out a few of the problem areas. Remember, let me review a little bit. Look for problem areas in this, and between these two diamonds and these two diamonds here, along the end rails and along the side rails, because those areas are going to give you the biggest problems in the game, and you gotta look at those right away. Don't look to shoot a ball in right off the bat. Look for those problems and try and